Money at Work series. Today, what we're going to be discussing is the basic rules of money management. We've listed 10. So important to start with a strong basic foundation before you move on to other areas, because without the strong foundation, it's a house of cards. First thing we want to talk about, number one, is plan your future. This is so important. A lot of people forget to do this. You've got to plan your future, whether it's major purchases, periodic expenses. You're never, ever going to arrive to financial freedom without a roadmap to guide you there. Have a plan and follow it. Number two, secondary, set financial goals. Determine short as well as mid and long range financial goals. Continue to nurture as well as adjust those goals monthly. Evaluate your shortcomings, celebrate your achievements. It's about having goals, reviewing those, seeing what's going well, what's working, what's not working, and making those adjustments. Number three, save your money. Save for periodic expenses that are unplanned, such as, car, home maintenance. And you want about 5 to 10% of your net income going into savings. You want to also use some of that to accumulate at least 3 to 6 months' salary in an emergency fund. Remember, the emergency fund, liquid cash on hand to cover these type of expenses will preclude you from having to either go into debt or prematurely attacking assets when these things come up. Number four, you've got to know your financial situation. Determine your monthly living expenses, your periodic expenses, and your monthly debt payments. Compare that to outgoing to the monthly net income, and then be aware of your total indebtedness. If your situation is not good, you can't just continue to ignore it. You've got to take a look and create a plan of action to get out of the situation you're currently in. Develop a realistic budget. You've got to learn to budget and then follow your spending plan as closely as possible. Of course, things are not going to be exact on point. There'll be some variables, but you want to get it as close as possible. Evaluate that budget and compare your actual expenses to your planned expenses so you can make adjustments going forward and get that into a more tighter range. Number six, you've got to keep a record of daily expenditures. Be aware of where your money is actually going. And this is so important because many people really don't know where their money is going. Use a spending diary, spreadsheet, something to assist you in identifying where the adjustments need to be made. Remember, any type of cash flow that you can free up can be put to work in other areas of your financial plan. Distinguishing between the difference of wants and needs. Take care of the needs first. Remember, there's things that we basically have to pay each month, and there's some things that we choose to pay. Money should be spent for wants only after the needs have been met, and you can go a step further and make those wants a reward for achieving a goal. You've got a savings goal, you meet it, take a small percentage, reward yourself. So use it as a reward as well. Number eight, don't allow expenses to exceed income. Avoid paying only the minimum on your charge cards, and don't charge more every month than you're actually going to pay to your creditors. That's going to start to, like a snowball, start very small, but it'll build up over time and to the point that it might be unmanageable. Number nine, use credit wisely. Use credit for safety, convenience, and planned purchases. Determine the amount that you can comfortably afford to purchase on your credit card. Don't allow your credit payments to exceed 20% of your net income, and avoid borrowing from one creditor to pay another. This sounds pretty self-explanatory, but credit's very important. Credit allows us to purchase things, and when those purchases are made, credit score is going to directly affect how much that debt actually costs us. And number 10, pay your bills on time. This goes a step further. Maintain the good credit rating that you either have, or if you don't, you need to work on building up to a good credit rating. If you're unable to pay your bills as agreed, don't just once again ignore the situation. Contact your creditors and explain the situation. Contact credit.org for professional credit and debt service, and you can also inquire about credit counseling services. These sound basic, and they really are, but once they're in place and you have a rhythm of activity where you know what you're doing, you've got accountability to that, and you're making the adjustments as you go forward to get into a better situation, it greatly helps other areas of your financial plans, including asset accumulation, retirement planning, etc. Want to know more about how to stretch your thinking, create a vision, and achieving? MillionaireMindset.life.